It's really hard to be a beginning teacher. They don't tell you about all the hard things that you're going to experience when you're going to school.
It's amazing, it's fun, but it's such hard work.
I am desperately trying to get better every single minute, and I am lagging behind because I'm a first-year teacher.
There is nobody more important on impacting student achievement than the classroom teacher.
Today, our classrooms are so diverse. We have, in this school district, more than 50 different language backgrounds. Out of 15,000 students, we have more than 2,000 who have IEPs, who have special needs. All of these children are in the regular classroom, and a regular classroom teacher is expected to meet all of their needs. We didn't have No Child Left Behind 30 years ago, and the expectation that every child will be successful. It's the pressure that we have on our young teachers is 100 times greater today than it was when I began teaching.
If kids get into a classroom where a teacher's not that successful or not that experienced, it takes years for them to get over that and to catch up in the gaps that they may have missed. And so, by doing things to support every teacher, we start to diminish the number of times that happens in any kid's life.
It's just hard work. There's no harder work in the world other than being a parent, I think, than being a teacher, particularly at the beginning of their professional careers.
Good morning, good morning. Get ready to start today. Okay.
In my interview here at Weller, I said, I'm ready. I am so ready. And I was. I don't think anything, though, can prepare you for actually being in the classroom. Nothing can.
Hey, here's the keys to your room. Good luck, Yeah. Seriously, that's kind of how it is. And you walk into this empty room with some tables over here and some chairs, and you're looking around like,
where do I start?
What do I do? Where do I start? And then, a week later, your kids show up.
As new teachers, I think we're all aware that we are new to the profession, and I think sometimes we hold back our uncertainties or our concerns
That's a good
out of
point.
perhaps pride or just perhaps I don't want them to know how clueless I am.
You go through extreme periods of stress where you just say, I'm not sure, I don't think this is going to work.
Well, I've noticed if I'm having a bad day, like everybody has a bad day.
I don't want to tell the teacher next door that I don't feel like I've taught anything worthy all week.
My first day, my plans did not go near as close to what I had laid out.
You're delivering lessons as you're reading them to the kids. Is the first time you've heard it also?
I was here till 9 o'clock some nights, not even realizing that it was 9 o'clock because it was still light outside, and working, and a lot of times everyone else is so busy that you don't necessarily get a thank you or a thanks for working hard.
I have a beginning teacher that on paper when we hired him last year, I thought, wow, this guy is totally awesome. Well, I started him in a third grade, and then all of a sudden the enrollment changed, and I said, you'll love first grade, let me tell you.
First of all, I didn't know first grade kids because I did my student teaching at the fourth grade level, and I didn't know how needy they are and how you have to micromanage every tiny aspect of what they do. And so I wasn't expecting that, and I didn't know that they wouldn't know how to read, a lot of them, so I didn't know how to teach a kid how to read starting from the very basics. So there was all these things in play, and And on top of that, I had all these behavior problems, and I was just going crazy. And I remember after one day of just barely making it through the day, I just remember sitting in my room and I was like, I'm done. I am not coming back here.
We looked at the research why teachers leave the profession. And as a misconception that many have is it wasn't about pay. It was about feeling supported. It was about feeling like they were effective and having the ability to dialogue with other professionals to make sure that they were doing the right things and that they had strategies when they weren't as effective as they could be, where to go to get those resources to deploy them. And mentoring seemed to be the absolute perfect fit.
We looked around at what was going on across the nation, and one program came up over and over and over, and that was the New Teacher Center in the University of California, Santa Cruz. And at the time they had, I believe, about 14 years of experience working with beginning teachers. Up to that point, we had been what we term as buddy mentoring. The teacher next door, the first grade team would get together with the new first grade teacher. Everybody would give the kind of support that they could to that beginning teacher, but everybody that was supporting that beginning teacher also had a full class of students. The New Teacher Center had a completely different take on that. They had teachers that were fully released from their teaching job. We were really taken by that, and so we did some investigation and actually visited the New Teacher Center and came back and just went, wow, this is what we need to do.
Both had the same goals, and she really had my best interests, in mind.
So I am immediately connected with an experienced teacher that it's their job to support me.
She's just someone who I feel like has my back, or someone who will, give me support.
I often tell her, could you just leave your brain here and I'll pick it, and you can go and do all the things.
When I got a mentor who could help me develop my strengths and fix my weaknesses, I became a very good teacher. And the stuff she's giving me and leading me in won't go away at the end of our partnership. I will be able to carry it with me throughout my career, and all the kids that I teach will benefit from the time I've spent with my mentor. It's worth every penny, in my opinion.
Our goals were to increase teacher retention and to improve student achievement. Those goals have been set from the beginning. So when we gather retention data, we're looking at who was being mentored and still is teaching in the state. And then we also break it up by those in rural districts, urban districts, and those in their first year or their second year of teaching. So our retention rates have been really improving over time. We're at an 87% retention rate, which is great. When we started the project, the districts we work with were around a 68% retention rate.
It was definitely worth it and beneficial to have my mentor there. The forms that she used guided our discussions, and she had modeled lessons before that gave me a lot of really good ideas to use.
We were able to do a study to see if the mentoring of the new teachers was trickling down and having an effect on student achievement. And so what we found was typically new teacher students scored 20 to 30 points lower on average than their veteran counterparts. But with our mentoring, these students were scoring almost similar, within 5 points or 7 points of the students with veteran teachers. And so for us, what this shows is it's a first step at really seeing that mentoring is starting to close that gap that we normally see of students with new teachers.
We set goals, and so she knew my classroom goals, so we had that focus in mind. So I didn't feel like she was trying to push a lot of stuff on me. We were more working together, and if she gave many ideas and many resources, and when the students really got the structures down and I was more in tune with their needs at that age, then we were able to grow academically as a class. And then I was able to grow more as a teacher because I knew how to have better control of everyone in my classroom. I feel like I've grown a lot this year, and I also have a great start for future years of teaching.
When we find good people, let's hang on to them and let's make them better. And the Teacher Mentor Program is something that really does cue in on that.
We really need to look globally when we're looking at education. And the nations that are, excelling and are competing in our global marketplace are those nations that pay attention to education.
Our data, our research, all of our resources, once again in alignment, indicate that in fact we are getting the results that the legislature wanted, that the Department of Education wanted, and that the University of Alaska wanted. And so we are making progress. We are impacting teacher practice. We are helping teachers stay within the profession, and we are helping students achieve better. So the bottom line is, it works.
They're finding their career more satisfying because they're able to find some success in that first and second year that then builds a foundation for success in later years. That alone makes the program worthwhile. But then if we have less turnover, and then if we can affect teacher preparation programs, it actually has some other huge impact in the long term.
I has told you 5 or 6 times, and the third will be the last. I is never showing myself to human beings.
Why ever not?
If I do, they will be putting me in the zoo with all the jiggy rafts and caterpillars. Having a mentor is going to save, first of all, it's gonna save the teacher from going crazy.
Drowning.
Drowning.
Hey,